Amelia, and today we're talking kitchen safety. The kitchen can be pretty intimidating, no doubt about it. There's accidents lurking in every cupboard and drawer. But when used correctly, the kitchen can be your best friend. Let's talk prep. Before you can start cooking, there's some things you need to do. It's time to check your outfit. Baggy clothes can dangle over food or catch on fire. For this reason, tighter fitting clothes should always be worn, and I'll roll up my sleeves. We also have to check what shoes we're wearing. I'm in closed-toed runners, which are ideal for in the kitchen. They're just more comfortable, and if I drop something, I'm a little more protected than if I were wearing sandals or something like that. I'm also going to tie up my hair because nobody wants hair in their food. That's gross. Next, I'll just take off my necklace, bracelets, and rings. They could just dangle in the food or even come off when you're cooking, so it's best to have them off. Aprons are a great way to protect your clothes from splashes and stains and prevent dirt from your clothes from contaminating your food. Okay, so now I'm ready, but my kitchen isn't. I'll start by wiping down my countertops with some non-toxic spray and a paper towel. I'm also going to get my pet out of the kitchen. Although adorable, they are kind of covered in their own feces, and I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want that anywhere near my food. Hand washing. Feels like we don't know how to do it by now. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Here's how to do it correctly. You should really wash your hands pretty often while you're cooking. Before, after starting, and during cooking. You should wash your hands, especially after handling raw foods, going to the bathroom, coughing, sneezing, or even touching your phone. Now your kitchen's ready to go, but do you know how to use it safely? Let's move on to hot stuff. Here are some rapid fire tips. Always assume that everything is hot. Make sure the equipment is clean to avoid flare-ups. Handles of pans should stay inwards over the stove, but not over another heat source. Beware of using utensils that conduct heat. Wear oven mitts when touching hot things. Wet oven mitts conduct heat, so be careful. Don't leave recipes close to the burner when it's turned on. Use the burner that's the correct size for the pot you're using. Lift pan lids away from you so any steam goes away. Stand to the side of the oven when you open it to let hot air rush out. Pull the rack out before grabbing pans from the oven. Don't leave the stove unattended while cooking. Make sure everything is turned off when you're done using it. If a fire does start in the pan, put the lid on or add baking soda and turn it off. Always keep a fire extinguisher handy just in case. If a fire starts in the microwave or oven, don't open the door. Fires need oxygen and it'll just jump out at you and they'll grow even more. And if it's a grease fire, don't add water. Grease and water just don't mix. Never try to move a pan if it's on fire. The fire will only grow and spill. If clothing catches fire, stop, drop, and roll and be covered by a fire blanket. Most often, if you get burned, it'll only be mild, so run it under cold water for at least 5 minutes and cover it with a clean, lint-free dressing. Whoa, but what about the appliances? To avoid getting shocked by an appliance, try these tips. Don't overload outlets. To unplug an appliance, pull from the plug and not from the cord. Store appliances away from water and don't use them if you have wet hands. Don't use an appliance if it has a frayed cord. Make sure they're always in good condition. Never put fingers inside an appliance or near any blades while it's turned on. And put appliances away when you're done using them. Now you can toast bread and blend smoothies like a pro, but can you use a knife? The knife. Arguably the most versatile and frequently used tool. You'll be besties once you get to know them. Not all knives are made equal. Some are better for cutting bread, meat, or peeling fruits. And no matter how convenient, no knife is made for cutting open Amazon packages. Now, a knife doesn't travel alone. It works with its good pal, the cutting board. The most important thing is that you use a secure one, and this can be done by placing a damp paper towel beneath the board to prevent it from sliding and your knife from slipping. A sharp knife is safer to use than a dull knife. You can test how sharp your knife is by cutting something, and if it does need sharpening, you can get an adult to help. To hold a large knife, place your pointer finger and your thumb at the end of the knife and wrap your fingers around the handle. For a smaller knife, you can just wrap your hands around like this. To safely cut food, curl the tips of your fingers inwards like a claw so that the knife only grazes your knuckles and you don't chop off a fingertip. To avoid cutting yourself, here are some safety tips. Never try to catch a falling knife. Don't leave knives in hot soapy water. Wash them, dry them, and put them away right away. When wiping a knife, have the sharp edge away from you. Peel foods away from you. Place knives flat on the table, never pointing up or dangling over the edge. Avoid carrying knives with other equipment. Don't carry the knife pointing out or swinging it. Carry it with the blade pointed down and behind you so that the tip is to the floor. Pass knives so the receiver can grab the handle. And if you get cut, wash the wound under cold water and cover it with a clean dressing. Now, let's talk slips and falls. Walk, never run in the kitchen, and no horseplay. Clean up spills right away with a mop or broom depending on the mess. And if you can't reach a shelf, use a step stool. Bend at the knees to lift heavy things. There are other types of safety precautions to take when in the kitchen that involve the food itself. At some point in your life, you've probably gotten food poisoning. Well, really, that is a foodborne illness caused by a harmful bacteria found in something that you ate. Bacteria multiply rapidly and you can't see them, but they're pretty much everywhere you look. To keep food safe when you're in the kitchen, remember to cook, clean, chill, and separate. You must cook food to a specified internal temperature. You can use a temperature thermometer like this and put it in the inside of whatever you're cooking, and once it reaches the certain temperature, it's safe to eat. It's important to keep hot foods hot and cold foods cold because bacteria tends to multiply the fastest between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius, or the danger zone. For perishable foods, you should always follow the best before dates listed on the packaging and eat leftovers that are stored in the fridge within 3 to 4 days of cooking them. You can thaw foods safely in the fridge, microwave, or sink if you change the water every 30 minutes. You should wash produce under cold water before cutting it to take off any bacteria, and use a harder scrub on tougher surfaces like the skin of potatoes. You should also wipe off the lids of cans before opening them. To avoid cross-contamination where bacteria is transferred from one food to another, it's important to separate raw foods from ready-to-cook foods. So if you're using a cutting board, make sure to cut the vegetables first and then the raw meat. You should also store meats on a low shelf in the fridge so that if any of the juices drip down, they won't contaminate other foods. You can also store your poisons and cleaning products under the sink. This way they're out of the way and won't come into contact with any of the food you cook. Those tips also relate to cleaning in general. There's an easy acronym to remember, ABC, which stands for Always Be Cleaning Up, which is what you want to do whenever you're in the kitchen. Here's a few cleaning tips. Close cupboard doors so you don't hit your head. For broken glass, you want to sweep up any large pieces first and then use a damp paper towel to pick up any of the smaller pieces. And once you have the big pieces, you can wrap them in a newspaper so that they don't cut you in the garbage bin. You want to wash pans, cutting boards, and utensils after every use, and separate the ones that you use for meat from the ones that you use for other foods to not contaminate them and contaminate your sink, so that the clean dishes stay clean and the dirty ones, well, they're dirty. Clean towel for drying so that I can dry off my clean dishes and put them away. And just like that, you're ready to start chefing it up.